By the end of this video, you will have understood what misogyny means in literature, considered how this concept links to main themes in Paradise Lost books 9 and 10, analysed how Milton has used language for effect. Recall and retrieval. I want you to think about where this fits into your A-level study. For example, if you have a look at the component and the percentage of the AOs which go towards it and the different AOs that are included in this essay, you'll be able to plan your essays well and be able to use the assessment objectives to guide you. For instance, this is a reminder. By describing the fall as tragic, Milton conveys the gravity and seriousness of this catastrophe for all of humankind, but he also situates Adam and Eve's story within the literary conventions of tragedy, in which a great man falls because of a special flaw within his otherwise larger-than-life character. The fall paves the way for the humankind's ultimate redemption and salvation, and thus Milton can claim that his epic surpasses that of Homer's and Virgil's because it pertains to the entire human race, not one hero or even a nation. So that's a little bit of an introduction and reminder of the seriousness of how Milton uses language to portray the rewrite of Genesis, obviously with his own literary genius. I want you to think about and compare, before we get into the misogyny side of it all, about the portrayal of Adam and Eve and how you can compare this. So for instance, Eve is created to be Adam's mate. Eve is inferior to Adam, but only slightly. She surpasses Adam only in her beauty. She falls in love with her own image when she sees her reflection in a body of water. Ironically, her greatest asset produces her most serious weakness, vanity. After Satan compliments her on her beauty and godliness, he easily persuades her to eat from the tree of knowledge. Whereas Adam is portrayed. Adam is a strong, intelligent and rational character, possessed of a remarkable relationship with God. In fact, before the fall, he is as perfect as a human being can be. He has an enormous capacity for reason and can understand the most sophisticated ideas instantly. He can converse with Raphael and near equal and understand Raphael's stories readily. But after the fall, his conversation with Michael during his vision is significantly one-sided. Also, his self-doubt and anger after the fall demonstrates his new ability to indulge in rash and irrational attitudes. As a result of the fall, he loses his pure reason and intellect. Adam's greatest weakness, apparently, is his love for Eve. So I want you to sort of think about ideas, jot them down. How would a feminist approach this, for example? How would religious ideas oppose this, for example? If misogyny encompasses the prejudice against women or enforces sexism and gender roles which may not be correct, it links quite clearly to the topic, having been a backbone of Western civilization and Christianity. So, before the fall, Eve is content. Let's have a read of the quote above the AO2 example there. But to Adam, in what sort shall I appear? Shall I to him make known as yet my change, and give him to partake full happiness with me? Or rather not, but to keep the odds of knowledge in my power without co-partner. So to add, what wants in female sex, the more to draw his love and to render me more equal, and perhaps a thing not undesirable, sometimes superior, for inferior, who is free. So there is this kind of change in Eve, which kind of feeds in to the misogynistic kind of view of the time, and I suppose at the beginning of time, rather, if you want to put it like that. So before the fall, Eve feels content with her role and position as Adam's wife and subordinate, lower. But shortly after eating the forbidden fruit of the tree of knowledge, Eve's views expands and she begins to feel dissatisfied. As she reasons whether to tell Adam what she did, she rationalizes that she cannot experience true freedom if she remains inferior. So that, in a sense, could be challenging misogynistic views, actually, where Milton is bringing to life an Eve who is dangerously and fiercely independent and thoughtful, just like Adam was. The seeds of discord between man and woman sprout once Eve eats from the tree of knowledge. Milton's use of rhetorical questions, therefore, further highlights the patriarchal view of a woman's freedom being dangerous or threatening to men. Eve's private realization, her almost existential sort of crisis anew, uses language as Adam and could be depicting Eve as challenging the hierarchy and adopting the power as a result of gaining freedom in her expression within the use of language. Right, now it's time for you to work it out. Your task is, how does Milton use language to portray misogyny through Eve's character before the fall? Choose 3 quotes to help you answer and think carefully about the attitudes of the time and how this can influence the portrayal of Eve's character. Here is an example that I've worked on from where Eve gorges on the apple and there is animalistic imagery. The portrayal of Eve's grave sin shows food as a metaphysical, so meta means beyond the physical concept, and its consumption is portrayed to the point of gluttony as an aesthetic, what is seen. It is an emotionally charged symbol that dates from the biblical Genesis and humanity's fall from grace. The act of engorge without restraint highlights the release and freedom from the patriarchal constraints. Milton opts to depict an Eve who is fulfilling the misogynistic perspective men had of women. Thus, Eve acts gluttonously, fulfilling and cementing the fall of man and further increasing the accusatory tone Milton uses towards Eve, more so after the fall. Also, the animalistic imagery reinforces the lack of human emotion and femininity in Eve. As nature feels the wounds of Eve's actions, and Milton no longer attaches Eve to a woman from Adam, but a fiercely disobedient and rebellious woman. So it's clear to see from this quote, just at the exact time of the fall, how Eve is being portrayed. And now it's over to you. How does Milton use language to portray misogyny through Eve's character after the fall? The concept of misogyny is now very much concentrated and more explicit after the fall. Have a look at the quotes below. Think about using 4 quotes to help you answer this question within your essay. Time to consolidate. Well, it is clear to see the way in which Milton has crafted characters to suit the viewpoint he may have had and others strongly held during the 17th century. It is interesting to note that whilst you revise each quote and the presentation of misogyny, that Eve is conspiring against Adam in a very Machiavellian way, also reminiscent of the satanic doctrine, sometimes superior for inferior, who is free. Below here you can see different examples of quotes where we are able to see the decline of Eve's loyalty as Milton effectively uses language as a tool in successfully portraying misogynistic views of the time. Read the quotes and think about the different type of characteristics Eve portrays in these quotes. Great work! You have analysed the ways Milton uses language to describe Eve before and after the fall. How misogyny is portrayed in the language used by Milton specifically to describe Eve. Well done.